Hey everybody, this is me, the Undead Viking, and I'm going to go ahead and show you this game here today. It's called Enfu Town. Now, I have no idea what Enfu means. I should say Enfu Town Bumpers is what's called. Bumpers is the terminology they're using for attacks. Like if you bump somebody, you're attacking them. But regardless, this is the classic battling of floppy cats versus grilled cheese sandwiches. You know, I like to think that I'm kind of like the cool dad. I'm up to date on like some things. But apparently this is a thing. And my daughter was telling me that it was a thing, right? But I don't get it. You know, maybe I'm finally getting old. But regardless, the company that's making this contacted me and asked me to take a look at it. And I saw it. And I showed it to my daughter when I saw it, and I said, do you think this is something you'd like?" And she knows what this is. If it's a thing, I don't know if it's a thing or not, but she knows what it is, and she said she really wanted to try it. So we got a copy and we played it, and we've been having a lot of fun with it. And it says for 10 or older, but my 6-year-old, well, soon to be 6-year-old son Caleb has played it and also has been enjoying it as well. And so anytime I can get my family at the table and we can play, I think it's a good game. So let me show you how the game is played, and we'll come back here and we'll give you my final thoughts. Alright, so this is Enfu Town, and as I said, my daughter swears this is a thing, and, well, I believe her. But anyway, regardless, the game is played on this grid that you can see in front of you. Each player has a champion. There's the champion cat over here, and there's the champion grilled cheese over here. The number up in the top left is the power of that particular character. All the cards remain face down and aren't revealed until they actually do get into a bump or a combat with each other. So there is like kind of a little fog of war thing going on with this game. Alright, so the big thing here is that you're going to have this deck of cards. One way you can lose is that on the beginning of each turn you have to draw a card. If you can't draw a card, you lose. You're out of the game. You can also lose if your champion is defeated in a bump or a battle. Each person starts with a hand of 4 cards, and whoever the first person is, they just get to go first. The person who goes second has the option, if they want, of switching their character, moving their champion to either side if they so desire. You'll notice that 2 cards are in these locations. You draw those 2 randomly from your decks, and you're allowed to look at them. So I can see that in this case we have the wide load that's a 6, and we have the big grump, which is a 2. I'm just going to kind of show these to you really quickly. The icon down here tells you that this special power comes into play when it is used in a bump. The special power doesn't happen otherwise. So this one says, turn face upon attack, damage hits adjacent card. So it can actually attack more than one thing. This one says, big grump cannot attack a champion, but big grump always wins in bumps and then is discarded after the bump. And this is a 2, and that's a 6. Now, you might be saying, well, why is that 2 on there if he just always wins anyway? The reason for that is because all cards can be used as reinforcements when you do a bump, and I'll talk about that in just a second. I'm just going to look at my hand here, maybe you can see. So, these little icons here means that you can use them as a drop. And so if you wanted to use your Happy Camper card, instead of placing it out on the board, you could just go ahead and use this to draw 2 cards. This icon over here is just to kind of help you to recognize what this is, the iconography. And I can see playing this with my son, since he's almost 6, but he can read, but can't read totally. I mean, he really liked playing this game. He and I were goofing around with it, and he enjoyed it. But he got the iconography a lot quicker than reading out the things. So anyway, regardless. So that is, now I gotta find one other type of card here that it's only when you're using it as a reinforcement type of card that it comes into play. Oh, here we go. So there you go. The Queasy, reduce one opponent backup number to 0, does not affect another Queasy, and so it just kind of eliminates that. Alright, so And I should mention that the cards over here do the same thing. So, there's a lot of things that are like, like here's the Big Dreamer, draw 3 cards. So the actions, draw 2 cards. The actions or whatever are pretty common as far as between the two. Here's a queasy cat here, reduce an opponent to 0. Too cool, draw 2 cards. Anyway, obviously the artwork is one of the selling points of this game, and I know, like I said, my kids were digging it, and they thought all the pictures were really cool. So, regardless, on your turn, what you're going to do is you're going to start by drawing a card. So we're just going to draw a card and put that in our hand, like so. So we got another big grump. That's always nice. So we're going to put that one down, and then now we can use any number of drop abilities we have. So if we wanted to, we could discard our Happy Camper, which maybe you don't want to do that because it's a power 7, but let's just do it. We're going to draw 2 cards, see what we get. We got another big grump, and we got another Happy Camper. Well, whatever. So now we've kind of replaced that Happy Camper that we just used with another one. And then you can place up to 1 card face down next to your champion in an open position. You can only do this prior to making a move, though. So let's put our other big grump in that position right there, so you can protect. And now you can do up to 2 moves. And then once you move a card, you can no longer place a card. So there is a little bit of a Tetris thing here, trying to make room to put more cards out, making sure your champion has the abilities. So you can then, if you're doing a move, we can move both our cards forward like so. We're getting towards the other side, trying to get into position to have another combat. Now we've opened up 2 spots, so we can place another card down on our turn. That's it. That's the big thing. Now the big thing that happens on your turn is that if you move a card onto another card, that starts what's called a bump, or like the combat. So when you start a bump, the first thing that happens is the defender can call for reinforcements. I didn't even look. What are these cards? So, and you don't reveal them yet. So, you wouldn't want to reveal the fact that you have the big grump and this person's automatically going to lose. So, we got a Happy Camper card here. So, power of 7. So, we move that one forward to attack, and then the defender can call for reinforcements. Let's see what we have here. So we wanted to, and you can play all of your cards. The big thing is that, one, they have extra powers, and I do like games with cards that have more than just 1 power, so you kind of have to decide how you want to use them. So and they've got some big grump cards here too, but let's go ahead and we're gonna he's gonna back them up with a 5, so that's our backup card, like so. And so then the attacker goes, and the attacker says, well, no, because I'm going to win, right? Because I have the big grump. And so now you're going to reveal what you have, and they realize that they lost because the big grump automatically wins, and then they have to discard all their cards. Now, if we'd used any backup cards to back up the big grump, then we would lose those as well. And the special power of the big grump is that he is discarded after he's used. And that's that. That's how that happens. Now, if that battle had been with, that's my other big grump. If that one had been with this wide load card and we'd won, we would go ahead, slipped over, let's say we backed it up with another big card, like we backed it up with this. So we'd have a 13, let's just replay that whole thing over again. So they had a 7 and a 6, but they backed it up with that, so they had a 12. And then we had a 13. We won. They still would be defeated. Like so. I would go ahead and discard that one. And I would get the spot that I had moved into and taken that over. Now, of course, the player knows what that card is. But you do flip it back over. It doesn't stay face up. And that's that. I mean, then the other person will go and do their thing, the exact same thing we just did over here. And the whole process is that you're either trying to get over to the champion and defeat it in a bump, or get the other person to bleed through their cards. And I do like the fact that you don't reshuffle up the deck, because of that, the game just doesn't last forever, right? So there are some cool little tactical decisions. Now, this isn't the most brain-bending game of all time, if you will. I do think it's aimed towards families, and it definitely is aimed towards me and my 10-year-old daughter and my 6-year-old son, because we had a lot of fun with this, and Like, basically, this is one of those things where I had to do this review, and I didn't know where this was, and of course, it was in my son's room, because he was sitting there playing with all the cards and actually playing the game back and forth on his own, which I thought was really cool, and I kind of had, I need to take this, Caleb, because I need to go ahead and make a video, but this will be going right back into his room after I'm done, because he really wants to continue playing this. So, I've had a lot of fun with it. I think it's a great family game, but let me talk more about that in my final thoughts. Enfu Town. Enfu Town. All right, so there you go. I mean, like I said, it isn't going to, dazzle you with like layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of mechanisms that interact with each other. No, it is a pretty straightforward game, but I think that's the whole point, right? It is meant to be played, as a light game. I don't see I really don't see myself ever playing this with someone in my gaming group, but I mean, well, technically yes, because my daughter is my number one person that I play games with now. But as far as like my normal gaming group that we meet, once a week, and we play a bunch of heavier board games, I don't see us ever playing something like this. But I like I said, I've played this dozens of times with my kids, and they think the game is absolutely amazing. Now, obviously, it's got a lot of things that I recognize from older games that I've played, but it obviously has placed this new skin or this new theme on it that really, really appeals to my kids. And it is really nice that because of the theme and the art and the presentation of the game, they are willing to dive in and kind of start recognizing the different strategies and tactics that are involved with the different cards that are in the deck, and how and trying to outthink the other person, and trying to remember which card is where on the grid and things like that. And so, as I've said in these videos, my daughter plays a lot of Pokemon, and she's really, really good at that. So, I mean, I knew she'd be good at this, but it's my son is just getting into the board game thing. And he has, and watching him puzzle this out and have fun with it has really been a joy for me. Just as being me who I am, and my son, and having him enjoy the hobby with me. So, yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a cute little family game that you want to if you have a friend who has kids that are into board games, or want to get into board games, or if you have children yourself, nephews and what have you, and you want to be able to play a game that isn't like a Candyland or a thing like that that's going to drive you crazy to sit there and play it, but if you want to play a game that like both of you can enjoy, and you can kind of meet in the middle as far as complexity plus mechanisms, then I strongly suggest you check this one out. Like I said, it's a winner in my family, and I'm sure it'll be a winner with yours as well. So, there you go. If you have any questions about Enfu Town, or you want to tell me what the heck this means, I could Google it, but I don't know. I'm hoping somebody just tells me. But if you just by all means post away, I'll be happy to answer any questions or comments you might have. Thank you very much for the time it took you to watch this video, and until next time, I am the Undead Viking, and I'm telling you to have yourself one heck of an awesome day. Alright, bye-bye.